Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. Today we are going to be doing a rate my teams video, basically. I know DBG has done videos like this. Ty Debo also does his extreme My Team Makeover series, and I will admit I kind of am copying them in that they do those videos and I like those video ideas and I think that they do a really good job. But I also wanted to make those videos myself. And I'm hoping that basically I can just help my followers and people who watch my videos build their teams to compete better at a competitive level, basically, because I play the game at a competitive level and I'm trying to build my platform, my channel, to the point that I can help other people also be able to play at that competitive level. So if you want to be in a future video, make sure you respond. I will put out a tweet probably once a week, once every couple of weeks when I decide to make one of these videos, and basically make sure you respond to those emails or those tweets. I'm sorry, and I will pick, like, how many do I have for this one? Like 8 teams. So I'll pick 7 or 8 teams to put into the video and basically let everybody know what I think of their team and what I would change personally. So yeah, let's hop right into it for the first team. Right before we hop into it, I do want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting the videos recently. We've gained like 450 subscribers in the last week, just because of a couple videos that I put out last weekend, and I really appreciate the support on all those videos. And if you are new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. I do stream on Twitch almost daily, pretty much daily, so make sure you go follow my Twitch if you haven't, and so to the channel as well. If you're seeing this video and you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, it is free and you can unsubscribe at any time, but I appreciate all the support again. So hopping into this first team, we got my boy Breathinator, who actually is a 250k qualifier, and I know how he plays because I've played him several times. But he says he has 1 million MT, likes to run through Luca and Evan Fournier. This new Evan Fournier card's really good and he's cheap. So the thing I will say about his team, he's got a really good base to his team already, and that's probably a thing that you'll see with most of these teams, but there are a couple of upgrades that I would make. The weak spots that I see on this team immediately are, honestly, the main weak spot I see is Kevin McHale. So, seeing as he has about 1 million MT, if he wants to make a couple of upgrades, the 2 upgrades that I'd probably make would be replacing McHale and Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade, I know he loves Dwayne Wade. He is a big Dwayne Wade user, but I would think he'd probably be better off getting a card like Lonzo Ball. Maybe seeing if he could find one with Hall of Fame Showtime on the auction house or something like that. And I think that would upgrade this position for maybe 100 to 200k if you're getting one that's badged out and has a couple extra Hall of Fame badges. And then the other upgrade that I would make would be putting Giannis at backup power forward, taking McHale out of the team, and picking up Kevin Durant. KD can play the 3 as well if you wanted to. You could play KD at the 3, move Lamar to the 4, move Terry to Sugar to your backup 3, and play KD at the 3 with Giannis at the 4. You could do that as well. But basically replacing McHale with KD, because I think KD's a much better card than McHale. He's phenomenal offensively, and he actually plays really solid defense as well. He has good defensive stats and badges, and he overall plays good defense on the court, is something that I've noticed because KD is on my team. I was actually really pleasantly surprised with how well he plays defense consistently, even in comp games. So those are the only changes I would make to his team personally, but he's already got a really nice basis to his team. Moving on to the next team. This comes from my boy Luster Bravo, who's one of my IRL friends. But he says he has about a 440k to work with. He's going for Cedric, and he has Sir there as a filler, but he's not bad. I see he's on next gen, so immediately Dwayne Wade jumps out to me as kind of like a weak spot. I actually like this Bob Sir card a ton. I think Sir actually stays and is better than Wade on next gen. But the holes that I see immediately are Dwayne Wade, Cam Reddish, Bobby Jones, Wayne Embry. McHale is fine, Giannis, Anton, Kawhi, Sura, Jack Marin. All of them are really solid cards that you can still use at a competitive level. So my first thing would be I would move Anton Jameson to the backup power forward. So then you have Giannis and Jameson as your power forwards. Kawhi is fine, McHale is fine. I'd start Sura, take Wade out of the team entirely. And then Marin and Leonard are fine as small forwards. 440k. Probably first upgrade I would make would be picking up a card like a Dino. You can get one cheap, badged out, to play backup center. That would be a good upgrade immediately. And then I'd pick up like a Karl Malone as your backup power forward. He's also really cheap and a really good card. Oh wait, no, he has Anton at the 3. That might not work then. No, actually just leave Anton at the 3 and pick up Karl Malone anyway and play him at the backup 4. That'll work just fine. Anton can play the 3 on next gen just fine. He's a good defender, and on next gen, it doesn't matter quite as much like clamps. So I think that'll actually work fine. Just leave your starting lineup as is, basically. Start Bob Sura, and then pick up Karl Malone and Dino, a badged out Dino as your backup bigs. Then the only two holes you really have are backup small forward and backup point guard. And immediately he says he has Cedric, so there we go. You got yourself a small forward right there once you get Cedric. Until then, Cam Reddish is fine. He's a good filler until you get Cedric, so that'll work fine. So then you're still probably sitting on close to 350 to 400,000 MT that you can use on a backup point guard. If you want to use all that MT, the direction that I would go immediately, Luka Doncic. He's the best point guard in the game. I love the card, and as y'all know, I am a Mavericks fan, so I'm a little bit biased. But if you're looking for a really good point guard, Luka is the answer. If you don't want to spend all your MT, you want to save some of it or use some of it to potentially replace Anton Jameson or get a Karl Malone at center. Anton is your backup power forward, pick up a small forward as well. Then you could get Alonzo Ball. But either way, those upgrades would probably make this team a lot better and use that 440k very effectively. Again, I like this team. It just needs a little bit of work at some of these backup positions and then that point guard position because Wade isn't very good on next gen. Moving on to the next team. Got my guy Air Bull. He says he has 550k MT. He's getting D-Rob, uses pick and rolls. So looking at this team, I assume he plays on current gen because I believe he's been in MSGs before and he says he plays on current gen. So I'm going to assume automatically he plays on current gen. So Wade is fine. Westbrook's okay. His starting lineup is fine. The weak spots I see on this team immediately are Cam Reddish, Kevin Love, and Wayne Embry because I assume his Marion is Evo to Opal, at which point he's totally fine as a backup power forward. Great defensive card too. So his centers, Cam Reddish, and maybe Russell Westbrook would be the places that I would look to upgrade immediately. The first thing I would do to upgrade the team would be pick up Karl Malone to replace Wayne Embry. Karl Malone's really, really good. Obviously, I don't like Karl Malone as a person, but as a player, a card in the game, he's a very, very good card. So that's probably the first upgrade I'd do, and it only costs like 30 to 40k to pick up that card, and he's an absolute beast. So that's the first upgrade I would make. Second upgrade I would make would be to pick up a backup center, potentially a guy like a DeMarcus Cousins, a Chris Boucher, even a Dino Raja badged. You don't have to spend a ton of MT on a backup center, but all of those guys are better options than Kevin Love, and they'll give you better defense and better athleticism than Kevin Love will. So that pretty much fixes your center position, and then you still will likely have something at a minimum like 450k MT. So the other two holes on this team are backup point guard, backup small forward. At the backup point guard position, I think it's an easy fix. Again, if you want to spend a ton of MT and not worry about the small forward position a lot, you can pick up a Luka. Otherwise, Lonzo Ball, or even Bob Sura. If you want to pick up a Bob Sura, he's got Hall of Fame showtime. He's really good. He has the Curry slide, good defense. He's tall. He's really kind of a do-it-all point guard. And if you want to go in that direction, you can do that as well. If you want to save your MT, otherwise, I would say Lonzo or Luka. And then small forward, backup small forward. The small forward position's a little bit tougher, I feel like. I would say grind for Evan Fournier on triple threat. And then move Terry Dishinger to backup small forward. You could start Fournier at the 2. Or you could even play Jack Marin at the backup 3. Put Fournier as your backup 2. But I think Evan Fournier would be the way to go with that, which means I would recommend probably going Lonzo or Luka with your backup point guard, unless you want to buy a more expensive center like a Hakeem. So that's the direction I'd go with this team. Again, very solid team, just a few holes that can be fixed with the amount of MT he has for sure. Now we're on to my boy Sauce God Inc. He streams on Twitch. Y'all go throw him a follow. That's one of my boys. Really good guy, great streamer. But he says he has 300k MT. He likes everyone to be 3-and-D. He's pretty decent at playing zone. He likes to get out in the fast break. He plays up tempo. He's getting better and learning every day, which is exactly what I like to hear. But looking at this team, he's got some really, really good pieces, and then I think he's got some holes. I assume this last 3 doesn't play. None of them cost an MT though, so they're fine, but I would not use any of these cards. Oscar's really solid on next gen. Actually, I'm going to say he keeps Oscar, but moves him to the backup point guard, but I like Oscar a lot. Kawhi, Lamar, Anton, Kenyon Martin are all really good. Sean Marion's fine. Dishinger's fine. Kemba, I don't love. Mitch Richmond, I don't love. DeAndre Ayton, I don't love. So the immediate holes I see are Kemba, Richmond, and Ayton. I like Kenyon Martin at center, especially on next gen. I think he does a really good job, and I think that works fine. The first change I would make would be just slightly moving around the lineup a little bit. Moving Lamardo to the starting 4, Terry Dishner to the starting 3. Anton Jameson is your backup 4, Sean Marion is backup 3. And then I would sell DeAndre Ayton, Mitch Richmond, move Kenyon Martin to the backup center position, and move Oscar Robertson to the backup point guard position. At which point your holes are point guard, backup shooting guard, and starting center. So, with that being the case, starting point guard position on next, says he got about 300K after he sells his card. He'll probably have closer to 325, 350K MT. I'd pick up Alonzo Ball. You could get one relatively badged out, but he already comes relatively badged out. Pick him up for around 100K, maybe even a little bit less. That fixes your point guard position right there. You're still sitting on at least 200,000 MT, likely more. And then you just need a center and a backup shooting guard. Again, shooting guard position, go get Evan Fournier. He's free. Just play triple threat online for him. You will get the card. He's totally worth getting. He's basically a better Jack Marin. Card is really, really good. That'll fix his shooting guard position. And then the only hole left in the team is backup center. And on next gen, Hakeem Olajuwon is an absolute monster. On current gen, he's a good card. On next gen, Hakeem is a beast. So immediately, that's where I would think you'd want to go for the center position if you want to spend the rest of your MT, would be Hakeem. If you want to save some MT, you could go in the direction of a Karl Malone, Chris Boucher. I would recommend Karl Malone personally. I think he's a lot better than Boucher. But if you want to save the MT, I would go Karl Malone. Otherwise, I would go in the Hakeem Olajuwon direction. And I think you've built a really, really good team just by making those 3 changes, picking up Lonzo, Evan Fournier, and Hakeem or Karl Malone at the center position. Moving on to the next team, we got 170 KMT. He runs Hawks 2018 5-out. He likes to 3-hunt on next gen, but also drive. So he just likes to play offense. But yeah, likes to face the floor, obviously, with the 5-out. So he says he's got 170 KMT. I like this team. He's got Cedric Maxwell, which means he's pretty solid at the game. Immediate hole I see is Chris Stapps. And I guess kind of Dino, but I don't think Chris Stapps is worth the amount of MT he's going for. I'm not actually sure how much he's going for, but I assume he's still going for 75 to 100 KMT. Immediately, I'd sell him. He'd probably have closer to 250K. And then if you're on next gen, again, Hakeem. Hakeem is the biggest upgrade here. I would try to get Hakeem, sell Dino, pick up Karl Malone. I think every other position on your team is really solid except for centers. So picking up a Hakeem, picking up a Karl Malone. I think they're a lot better than Chris Stapps and Dino, and I think you could probably do that with the amount of MT you have if you sell those two. And I think everything else is really solid. I like Jeremy Lin. I like him on next gen a lot. I think Lonzo's probably better. You could start Lonzo, bring Jeremy Lin off the bench, but I still like the team a lot. If you like Jeremy Lin more than Lonzo, feel free to keep using him. Gerald Wallace is a great card too. He's another really good budget small forward for a couple of the teams that I mentioned earlier if y'all are looking for small forwards to replace a card like Cam Reddish. But I like this team a lot. Center's the only positions that I would upgrade personally. Here we got my boy H2. He didn't really say how he plays. I don't love this team, but I know he's a Rockets fan. So he's got guys like Clyde Drexler in there, Hakeem, which is fine. Hakeem I will leave. But I think the holes immediately on this team are backup shooting guard and then the power forward position and kind of point guard. He is on current gen. So immediately what I'm going to say to do, sell Kyrie, sell Carmelo, sell Larry Bird, sell Clyde Drexler. These 4 cards I would sell immediately. And I'd sell Paul George too. To replace Paul George, I would go get a Gerald Wallace. I would go grind for Evan Fournier and triple threat online to replace Clyde Drexler, and you've replaced those 2 positions. Pick up Bob Sura. He's cheaper than Kyrie, and he's better, in my opinion. So I think immediately that's a good upgrade to make as well, and that'll save you some MT. And then that will probably leave you with closer to, I would estimate, 200K-ish after selling everything, picking up Fournier, picking up Bob Sura, and Gerald Wallace. You'd have something closer to 200K here to replace spending your power forward position. And my immediate recommendations would be if you're close to like Anton Jameson in domination, I would go do domination and finish him up, pick him up. If you're not, maybe go the direction of probably a card like Karl Malone again is a really good upgrade. I think even Chris Boucher at the power forward position is good still. You could keep Carmelo at power forward. I don't love him on current gen personally, but I think if you like him and you want to run him at power forward, he's not the worst. That's kind of the direction I'm thinking. He has McHale, so if you could get Cedric Maxwell and sell Jimmy Butler as well, that could save you some MT. I like Jimmy, but if you can get Cedric Maxwell and replace Jimmy Butler with him, that'll save you some more MT. And and you'd have him more MT to go towards that power forward position. But yeah, those are probably the upgrades I would go for immediately. Would be replacing Kyrie with Sura to save some MT there. Evan Fournier over Clyde and sell him. Gerald Wallace or Paul George, sell him. And then power forwards like Karl Malone. You could move Mikhail to power forward, Chris Boucher at center, Dino at center, cards like that. And then you'd still have a decent amount of MT that you could save to potentially upgrade another position, especially if you can get Cedric Maxwell. So, final team. No, this is not the final team. We got 2 more teams. Okay, so this team, we got, he says he has about 1 million MT. You got a lot of MT. You definitely have the ability to upgrade this team. Smush Parker, I think he's better than Westbrook personally. So, immediately, I'm actually going to tell him to keep Smush Parker and play him at the backup 1. Starting lineup is fine. I like it. He's got Yi. I didn't love this Yi card, but if you like him over Dino, then run him over Dino. Sell Dino in that opinion. If in that case, though, if you like that, and then you can run Yi as your backup center, move Smush to your backup point guard, and then you need a shooting guard, small forward, and a center, and you got about 1 million MT. So, with that being the case, I would say the immediate place that I would go if you want to spend MT, Anthony Davis is center. If you don't want to spend quite as much MT, get Hakeem. Either one is a beast. I like AD more, but Hakeem is also really, really good, especially on next gen, and you are on next gen, obviously. So I would say Anthony Davis or Hakeem at center, and then at the back of small forward, you already have Gerald Wallace. He was the one I was going to plug in there. Shooting guard, obviously, again, Evan Fournier. He's free. He's not that hard to get. That's the upgrade to make for shooting guard. And then small forward position, that's a little bit tougher, but you have a lot of MT. So if you want to spend a lot of MT, you could go get a card like a Kevin Durant. If you don't want to spend quite as much, or you could even go get a Tracy McGrady, LeBron James. You could go get one of the top cards in the game if you have 1 million MT. And I think actually picking up a card like a KD on next gen, a LeBron, a guy like that, and starting him and then have Gerald Wallace as your backup would add a little bit of star power to your team. So I actually like that, doing that upgrade a lot. Picking up a center like Hakeem or AD, and then a small forward like LeBron or KD, and then picking up Fournier as your backup shooting guard. And if you do that, I think you're looking at a really, really good team that you can use in a comp setting and compete with any team in the game, basically. I like this team a lot. Again, he has a lot of MT, which is good. This is the final team of the day. He said he has about 600 KMT. I got DM this team. He said he couldn't respond to the tweet for whatever reason, which works. He says he has about 600 KMT. I do see a couple holes in this team immediately, but it's not bad at all. Donald's good. Evan Fournier, Lamar, Karl Malone. Those are good. I'd move Dino to your backup center. Sell Mo Bamba. Unless you like Mo Bamba over Dino, in which point, case, sell Dino. I don't love this Brandon Ingram card because he's not a great defender, but offensively he's fine. If you like him, you can run him as your backup small forward. I don't love him. He said he was 600k. Fred Brown is basically a worse Kyrie. I don't like this card very much. So first upgrade I would probably make, he is on current gen, I would pick up a Bob Sura. Bob Sura is not super expensive. You still have a lot of MT left, and he's a lot better than Fred Brown. He's almost as good, if not as good as Donald. Really good defender. Again, has Hall of Fame Showtime. Great card. So I'd pick him up at this point guard position. I would pick up Gerald Wallace as your starting small forward. That fills a hole there immediately. And I think you got a really good starting lineup if you do that. And then, if you want to keep running Brandon Ingram, you could run him as your backup small forward. He already has Evan Fournier, so starting a backup shooting guard would be a guy like, dang, I'm kind of stumped on this team. Because he already has some of the good budget cards. I guess he doesn't have like Jack Marin or Terry or Kawhi. Let me take a look at the other teams to see if there are any upgrades using those teams that I would make. See, like a lot of these cards are free cards. I guess Jimmy Butler's a good option. You could run him at the shooting guard position off the bench. He's not super expensive anymore. That would definitely be a good upgrade. I would go there potentially in that direction. And then the backup power forward position, I would sell Sekou. You could play Ingram as your backup small forward or backup power forward. And then if you want to spend MT at the power forward position, you could go after a card like LeBron or KD again, because those are like really, really elite level cards. If you don't want to spend as much MT, you could go after a card like Chris Boucher again. He's got Hall of Fame Showtime. He's a beast card. Or probably the direction that I personally would go, actually, and I kind of don't know why I forgot about him, would be Giannis. You can move Lamar to your backup power forward. Start Giannis. Giannis is a beast, especially if you can find one badged out. But his release is not that hard to grant. I know he's not a great shooter, but from the corner, he's pretty knocked down still, and he'll hit whites, especially on unlimited difficulty. So that's probably the direction that I would go for this team personally, would be picking up Giannis, picking up Bob Sura, picking up Jimmy Butler. And I think those fill some of the holes in your team. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to do it for the video. I appreciate everybody who's watched this video. If you watched this point, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go follow my Twitter, link will be in the description, so that you're ready and you can drop your team for future videos if you want my opinion. And I hope that these opinions do help anybody whose team was in this video. I appreciate y'all for watching again, and I'll be back with another very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.